Today we're making St. Louis ribs. Tender, moist, spare ribs. Here we go. Nice big rack of spare ribs. You can see it's the full spare. And we're gonna cut these down to a St. Louis cut. So we're gonna kind of take this portion right here out of them. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off this breastbone right here. So I come in here, get in the cartilage area, and it's just straight down. That's off. You want something to munch on? Throw that on the pit. Makes a good little Scooby snack whenever you're these will get done before those do, and you can munch on those. But if you're wanting to do a St. Louis, well, I'm gonna come in here and just clean this nasty stuff off the end. But you kind of find your top bone. Your longest bone's about right here. So that's about the distance we're looking for, is right there. So I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna cut right along the top of that bone and try to make a straight cut all the way down. Have a nice sharp knife. This is just a 6-inch Wusthof chef's knife. It's a great little knife. I'm gonna throw that on there and probably cook those at the same time. These are just for the family, so we'll eat all that. Now you just come in here and kind of decide where you want to square off at, but I don't always cut off that end bone, and why? I feel like it protects the bones inside of it. Same way with this end, but you get a little flap of meat here. Turn around maybe so y'all can see a little better. And that's where the diaphragm was. So you can just come in here and take it and slice that off. Try not to get down into your rib bone. Just go right above it. That's looking pretty right there. Now take off this membrane. We want to get the membrane off because we want to get smoke and seasoning to this side of those ribs. You can come in here, slide your knife just under that membrane, and then turn it up where not with the blade side, but your back side, the spine, right, of your knife. This is kind of tough to get hold of. It's kind of slippery. There's a trick to doing that. Get you a paper towel, reach in here, grab it, work your membrane off up to the top. Then you just grab it, and it should come off in one piece. That one had some cuts in it, you can see, and that's why it didn't come off in one piece, but try to get it off all the way if you can. It doesn't always happen that way. Flip these back over. Let's look at this top side. This little piece of meat here is going to slough off. Sometimes I cut it off, sometimes I don't. It's just a little piece of meat sitting up on top of some fat. But we're going to take that off today and just clean this area up a little bit. You got to be careful not, or you'll get down into the meat here, and you don't want to do that. But that's not bad. They're a little bit narrow on this end. I could probably come in and take a little bit more off the top. If this was a contest rib and I wanted them to be all the same length, I would probably just take a little bit more off here. Not going to worry about that. These are for the family. They'll cook up just fine. We're going to take our injector and start working on injecting these different ways. Some people will just do like 3 across. You can do 1 from each side. A lot of people do it different ways. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my bones, right? Here's my first bone. And you can come through here, you can feel them. And I'm going to come in between my bones, right? And I'm going to kind of inject as I come out. So in between the bones again, find the next bone. Inject as I'm coming out, maybe 1, maybe 2 cc's. Then I cover the middle, and then I go down here on the end, right, all the way out. Find my next set of bones. Let me finish getting these done, and then I'll get back with you and I'll show you the next step. We have got those pumped up and full of moisture, full of flavor. So what I'm going to do is just take a paper towel and I'm going to pat these dry. All right. We want to get all the moisture we can off the top. It's going to help our rub stick. Just got regular old French's yellow mustard. That's what I like to use. So I'm going to go with the back side first. And it doesn't take a whole lot. Right about there will work. Just a thin coat. And you could check your bones along here. If you have any breaks or little chips of bone or something, great time to get those off. But that's enough right there. Does not take much at all on ribs, because like I said, ribs are already, they're kind of moist and they're kind of sticky. And I'm going to start off with some Dirty Bird from Cosmos. And let's go back to the back first, because right? They're gonna see our tops. So that's why we always leave our top last. So I'm gonna come in here with some Dirty Bird. Great, great flavor right here. And then on top of my Dirty Bird, I'm gonna come back with some honey chipotle killer bee. Gonna put a great flavor on these ribs. Flip these over. I'm gonna go Dirty Bird first. These aren't a huge piece of meat, so it doesn't take just a large amount to get these going right? A lot of flavor. And I tell you what, these Cosmo rubs are packed full of flavor, and they are gonna give these ribs some beautiful, beautiful color. There is our Killer Bee Chipotle. Get my tops good. Those are ready to go. I'm gonna put them back in my container, just a disposable tray. Set them in the refrigerator. I'm gonna go out and check the pit, let these sweat out a little bit. Once they've sweated out good, we'll show you how to get them on that ugly drum smoker. Drum smoker's up to 275. These spare ribs are now St. Louis ribs. They've juiced out a lot, got a lot of nice moisture on them. They're looking pretty. Let's get them on this pit. You can see those right there, look at that. They are pretty, got a nice color on them. Put them right there. Like I told you, this is for the family. We're cooking these for us. And that Scooby snack for later. I've got some fantastic lump charcoal on here from Fogo. I like cooking it, burns clean. And I've got some mesquite wood on top of that. So we're gonna have some nice smoke on these. Close them up. At 275, folks, this is gonna be about a 3.5 hour cook. We're gonna go 2 hours with smoke. We're gonna wrap them for about an hour, and then we're gonna take about a half an hour to set that bark again, get our sauce on, and get them looking pretty. We are right at 3 hours, about 2 hours and 50 minutes in. Check these at 2 hours, and they just did not have enough color on them. They were starting to pull back a little bit off the bone. I said, you know what, I'm gonna let them stay, because most of y'all, if y'all watch me, I wrap to color. But we're gonna pull them off now. If they're the right color, we're gonna check on wrapping those up and finishing this cook up. So let's get them off this UDS. This color is looking a lot better. I'm gonna take these, and boy, I tell you what, they look like they're about ready to look at them. And I tell you what, look at that, folks. A rib is ready when it does that. When you pick it up in the middle and it points at the ground, it's ready. These ribs are not gonna get wrapped. This color on these is not bad at all. They're a little bit, I mean, this is set. Now, got some butter on here. That's gonna help soften that up some. It's gonna add a little bit of richness to this set of ribs. But what I'm gonna do is now, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna come up with some Killer Bee. And just give me a light sprinkle of Killer Bee on it. And then I'm gonna come in with some cherry habanero from Cosmos. Well, those ribs are hot. This sauce is warm. I didn't heat the sauce up, but I did. I let it sit out, so it's at room temperature. Bring it just out of the refrigerator, and it's gonna be cold. But it's gonna give us some pretty color on these ribs. Don't wanna rub all my rub off. Of course, comp wouldn't be brushing them right. We would not wanna brush that off. I am gonna come back with a little bit of honey though. This is gonna give a nice shine and sweetness to these ribs. I'm just gonna take my tongs and sit them back on there. And I'm gonna let them sit there until this sauce candies up. I'm thinking 15, maybe 20 minutes. And these ribs are gonna be done in 3 hours and 15, 20 minutes maybe. Come back with a little bit of our Dirty Bird on top of that. Add a little more color. They still were a little bit light, but there we go. Little Dirty Bird. They're gonna be packed with a lot of flavor. Let's get our tongs and get them back on the pit. 15 to 20 minutes to set that. I'm gonna take off our rib tips, right? That little breastbone, let those, I am gonna wrap those. They'll take a little bit longer. Lid's back on. These ribs are looking pretty. I'm gonna take them off. Put them up on our cutting board. These ribs have been off for about 15 minutes. They're looking really pretty, cooled off enough that we can slice them. And if you look, you can see all these little humps. Those humps are from where we kind of squished them together when they cook. Remember, they're gonna look how they cook. Scrunch them up, they're gonna puff them up, they're gonna hold water better, hold moisture. But I'm gonna come in here and you just kind of find your bone, right? And then bring your knife in and you're just gonna slice right through it. We're gonna slice out one of these middle ribs. Let y'all look at it. Let's just take a look here. Got a nice smoke ring. There's moisture in these ribs. They're gonna taste really, really good. That LC barbecue, that Boss Hog, has packed some flavor and some moisture in them. Plus these rubs we got from Cosmo, they're gonna work great. So I'm just gonna bring this rib up. I'm gonna slice right there. Here's our next one, right through that hump, right? But I tell you, I bet you it tastes pretty tremendous. Right there. Clean bite through, didn't pull the meat off the bone. That's a very good cooked rib right there. And it does have plenty of flavor, plenty of moisture. Dirty Bird, always a good rub to use. And I'm really liking this Chipotle Honey Killer Bee. It's a tremendous rub, also gives you just a little bit of spice. Of course, we put some of that habanero, the cherry habanero on it too, with a little spice with it. But by no means would I call this a hot rib. But I tell you what, it's a tasty rib and it is a colorful rib. Hope you enjoyed, hope you give it a try. And if you do give this recipe a try, then come back and tell me how your next batch of ribs turned out. And remember folks, every cook is different. Today, I did not have to wrap these. If I would have, we could have taken them to falling off the bone. Didn't want them quite there, all right? I wanted to back off from falling off the bone. I think I did that very well. Left a good bite, tender, and folks, it is an excellent rib. So thanks for stopping by Texas Style Barbecue and Cuisine. Always do appreciate it. Tell your friends and family about us. Share us on your social media. And we're gonna see you down the road on Texas Style Barbecue and Cuisine. So long, everybody.